A lot of people say that, it's a cliche like, oh, I'm in business because I want to help people. Not really. The beginning story of your business creation is generally, I need to improve my quality of life.
It's really interesting because you built an extremely successful company, but also enlisted your dad as the social media star. And we were talking pre-record. I'm like, I could never do that with my dad. I mean, rest in peace. My dad passed away a few years ago. But the point is, like, this is an amazing story. And now it's a hugely successful business.
It's been a lot of fun with my dad. I can tell you that much. My dad has always had entrepreneurship in his blood. So much so, he's a businessman. I mean, we don't have enough time to talk about my entire story with you guys today here, but we go way back. When I was a kid, he had a toy store. You guys already know my last name is Suarez. In Puerto Rico, we had a company called Suarez Toy House. And back in the day, Suarez Toy House in Puerto Rico, which is a small island with 2 million people in it, was like a big deal. We have Toys R Us that went bankrupt a couple of years ago, but Suarez Toy House was the Toys R Us in Puerto Rico and in the Caribbean. And he made a lot of money with it. And it was my grandpa's business and they did fantastic with it until Toys R Us came about. It's crazy how this whole thing's, like all of it repeats itself throughout history.
Right.
Because then Amazon came around, came and Toys R Us disappears. And who knows? Right now, it's not in the foreseeable future. Somebody doing this to Amazon. We'll see what happens in 50 years or so. But this has happened many times, and it happened to us. So our family went bankrupt twice. First time, when I was 10 years old, after being very rich with the Suarez Toy company that my dad had, bankrupt, lost everything. My dad went into rebuilding for years. He actually was an alcoholic. So the whole thing kind of like developed and the whole family fell apart. And the rest of my years from the age of 10 to the age of 20, I lived in poverty. I had nothing. I had to figure it out because my dad and my mom, after 19 years of marriage, went bankrupt, both of them, divorced, separated, and it all fell apart. So then I had to figure out, and at that point, I was a horrible student. Coming from myself, got involved with dark things and drugs and all things that in a small island like the one that I lived in is very rampant. So I was a part of that world for quite a while until I escaped and I went to a different country because I had to. I kept on going back to the same problems. Went to Mexico. I met my wife and then I came back to the United States in Florida. And I got a job. But then what happened? 2008 happened. And then the economy collapsed. And for some strange reason, some bank decided to lend me $250,000 for me to buy a house in 2008 in the middle of like still the bubble. I think it's 2007 before the whole thing collapsed. And I said, hey, I got no money. I got no credit. I got $40 in my bank account. Can you please lend me some money? Oh, sure. Why not? 0% down. I got a house. And so 2010 hit and I already had, again, nothing, bankruptcy. So my whole process, Ralph and Amanda, starts with necessity. Somewhere in 2011, having lost everything and now having 3 children and looking at them and wondering what the heck am I going to do with, I don't have Ralph's marketing certificate, not even in the drawer, right? I don't have anything. I had to figure something out. And that's where 2 things happened at the same time. My dad was struggling with the business in Puerto Rico. As you guys might have heard, Puerto Rico has been hit by economy, bad governments, hurricanes, earthquakes. I mean, it's been like nonstop for years. So the island was like in trouble and my dad was losing his business and I saw him doing a seminar and I said, we gotta start. We gotta do this in today's world. And today's world includes, let's do a YouTube channel. Let's get you in front of a camera. And we started creating a channel called Metabolismo TV. And funny story, Ralph and Amanda, something that I got to give credit where it's due. It all started with Gary Vaynerchuk's book, Crush It. And studying Gary Vee's concept of wine library TV, which goes in line with the first step of the formula, which is figuring out the superpower. And what we did was that we said, okay, Dad, what is your superpower? Let's see. What is your super skill? What are you good at? And if you don't know, let me know because I'll tell you what it is. And he's like, well, son, he was 62 years old at that point. He's like, I'm getting old. And I'm like, okay, fine. But you have a certain passion. You talk about all the time. In dinner time, we're all tired of hearing of it. All your kids were sick and tired of it, Dad. And you don't stop talking about it. And I try to get you to get entertained with my children and you don't get entertained. You don't care about anything except this subject. So what is your superpower? And he said, okay, well, son, my superpower is health and helping people improve their energy and their metabolism. Perfect. You got it. We're going to go down that route. And we put him in front of the camera. And for a good 6-9 months, he felt like this old crazy man that nobody was watching, that nobody was paying attention. And we just kept on doing it and kept on doing it, which is, Ralph, you and I were talking about your episode number 269, which is this. That takes persistence. You got to be able to put your head down and do it without having to, you know, how many comments do I got? How many views? How many subscribers? And that is where a lot of people fail at. So this step right here, which is the superpower part, you got to be willing to go through that process. If you really care about it, you got to be willing to put your head down and work, because if you don't, everything else will fall apart. If you're looking for income in the next 2 months and you won't make it unless you generate that income, then, you know, might as well go get a job, go down a different route, because it is a competitive market out there, but anybody can make it if they just go down the route and persist. Some people are going to make it faster because they're better than the other ones, and that's a fact. Some people are natural. My dad kind of like evolved and he became a natural, and I think that's 2012 when we created the channel. 2015, after 3 years of hard work, we celebrated 100,000 subscribers on his YouTube channel. 2015, 3 years later. Fast forward the story, we crossed 3 million subscribers a few weeks ago. Social media, he's an international powerhouse. This guy has influenced the lives of millions of people. Our business, which was going broke in Puerto Rico, barely generating $100,000 a month and dying because they were spending $120,000 a month, now is going to cross $50 million this year internationally, just $25 million in the United States alone only. And this is all part of that story of like getting my dad to communicate to the world his superpower and his super ability to help others with that information that he would take for granted, that we were all tired of, his children, but the world out there really, really needed and could use to improve a particular aspect of their lives. He set his path and he built it along the way. And we joke about that. I went to Gary V's office in 2017. We are actually one of his episodes called The Daily V's. I think it's episode number 37 called Jersey Boy or something like that. My dad, myself, and my wife, we went to Gary's office. We had a meeting one-on-one with him. Long story for another day, but one of the things that we told Gary joking is like, look, Gary, and 𝗙𝗢𝗥𝗡 was there. And we said, we copied and pasted. We plagiarized you in and out. Your channel was called Wine Library TV. Our channel was called Metabolismo TV. And even the look and feel of the whole thing. And he was like, I love it. I love the execution, right? So we got motivated and inspired with that route. But it's incredible. Yes, what we've gone to where we're at today would not have happened, Amanda, if it wasn't for pure, sheer motivation to survive. We kind of had to like, it's or else, right? What do we do to have a better quality of life for ourselves? At this point, we do what we do because we're into now helping people. A lot of people say that, you know, it's a cliche like, oh, I'm in business because I want to help people. Not really. The beginning story of your business creation is generally, I need to improve my quality of life. But then as you transition and you have developed your business and you're doing well and you don't really need anything else anymore and you have everything that you could possibly need and want, then it could become more of a passion, which is where people like my dad is at. I'm getting there. Like I'm into helping people and providing value and less like doing other things. And I think that road is a really clear road for anybody to be able to grow a business. If you really have the intention, pure at heart, that you really want to create a difference with people along the way, that's your superpower. And that's what you got to figure out.